Hi, if you're looking for the latest information on what it costs to live in beautiful Colorado Springs, you've come to the right place. I'm recording this in mid-June of 2020, so this is the very latest information we've got right now. If you haven't been here before, if you haven't hit the subscribe button, I would invite you to hit the subscribe button and hit the little bell so you get notified. We do a new video every week about Colorado Springs, so you can learn about your potential new city right here. So be sure and hit that subscribe button. And here we go. Let's jump into it right now. All right, this shows the cost of living in Colorado Springs compared to some other major cities. The national average is always set to 100. So we are, as you can see, just barely higher than the national average. So much lower than some of these big cities out on the coast, as you can see, and much cheaper than Denver right up the road. We're about 60 miles south of Denver, and it's slightly more expensive up in Denver to live. Um, so Colorado Springs is right at just over 100. Utilities are lower than the national average, and we'll take a look at the next thing right here. This will give you an idea, if you come from any of these cities here, how much you'll be saving on your cost of living when you come here. So San Francisco, your cost will drop 60%. New York City, they'll go down by 80%. Even Miami, this almost the smallest decrease on this, they'll save 12%. We're pretty much neck to neck with Dallas, pretty much even across the board with that city in Texas. So not too much difference from there. Of course, yours will be different if you're not in any of these cities, but this will give you a general idea of where we stand as far as cost of living goes. Now, as you can see from this chart, where we make up a lot of our differences on the energy costs, we have a coal burning power plant that's right in the middle of downtown. Nobody loves it. It's been there forever, and they're talking about ways to get rid of that thing. In the meantime, it's going to be there for a while, but coal is cheap, and it comes from northern Colorado and Wyoming on coal trains several times a week. And we're also increasing our use of alternative energy forms. Another thing that comes down by train back and forth from Pueblo, just south of us, is huge blades for the windmills from the Vesta plant down in Pueblo. So there's a lot of wind farms being put in all across Colorado, and we're taking advantage of that also. Food prices are about the same as everywhere else in the country, national average, and housing prices are pretty much straight across the board as well. For some reason, we seem to be up in both healthcare and transportation costs, but overall, as you saw before, we're pretty much even with the national average. So if you're going to come here first and rent a home or an apartment, as some people like to do to check out the city before they move here, this will give you an idea of what you're looking at. Rents for one bedrooms average from almost 1,000 to about 1,150. You can see the range on the right would go from 850 to 1,300 for a one bed, depending on where it is and the amenities that come with it, of course. Three beds go from like 1,400 to 2,300. I've got some interest in a couple of buildings, and we've got nice two bedrooms at about 950. So that'll give you an idea there. I'm going to pull off this just a second and tell you about the housing costs. Every month I do an updated report on the real estate market in Colorado Springs, and the latest one that we have information for is May. In May, we had about 900 sales, 900 new listings, about 800 sales. The median price, which means right in the middle, was at 350. The average price, which gets skewed up by higher priced homes that sell, is at 390. So that's kind of the range we're in right now. Again, depending on if you buy brand new, if you buy a well-loved home, and depending on what part of town and amenities come with it, the range will all over. If you're under 200,000, you're pretty much looking at a townhome. up to 250, in fact, townhomes or something that would be smaller or might need work. So 350 is right in the middle right now. Things are going fast here. You have to be ready to buy. You have to have all your ducks lined up. In May, the average days on market from the time they put the sign in the ground to the time the contract was signed was just 17 days. So 2 weeks and it's done pretty much. I had one that went in 3 days, 45 showings, 11 offers, 10 of them over asking price. So things go quickly if they're really nice in a nice neighborhood. So you've got to be ready to go. Get yourself a good agent to help you find that out. So that's what's going on with the buying market. Let's get back into the screen share here. So once you've got a place, how much is the electricity and gas and so on going to cost you? Here's give you an idea for a 915 square foot apartment. The average is about 125 a month. So again, this depends on how big the place is and how many people are using the hot water. If you're watering the lawn in the summer a lot, that'll take it up in the summer. Depending on where you put the thermostat in the winter, if you like it 68 is warm enough for you, you won't be paying as much as if you do, 74 degrees in the wintertime. If you run the air conditioner all the time, that's going to jack it up as well. But this will give you a ballpark idea for 915 square foot apartment. The average is right around 125. You can see the average on the right would take you from 80 to 175 roughly. So that's a ballpark idea for the utility cost. Now, once you're in and you want to go out, what's that going to cost you? Well, as you can see here, go to your neighborhood pub and get a burger and a beer. That could run you about 38 bucks. I've covered it up with this picture here. Movies, once we get back to having movies again, they're 10 or 11 bucks a ticket. Theater tickets, this says best available. That'll range depending on who's coming and so on, but that'll give you a ballpark average right there, about 80 bucks, 40 bucks a seat. Dinner for two in an Italian restaurant, as an example, about 56 bucks. There's one in Old Colorado City that's really well known and liked called Paravicini's. They do a great business, and that's a pretty good ballpark. That's one of our favorite places, and that's not too far off for dinner for two. Downtown, there's lots of clubs, so you can go up and down Tejon Street and walk into any bar and get a margarita or a cocktail for about 9 or 10 bucks. Beers would run you about 5 or 6 bucks a pint. There's lots of brew pubs here. We've got 26 breweries in town, so lots to choose from. There's not one too far from you probably. We also have several distilleries, some of them award-winning. There's one called 291 Distillery that has nice bottles of bourbon or rye that have gotten gold medals everywhere, and those go for about 70 or 80 bucks a bottle. So that's towards the high end of stuff. And get yourself a cappuccino for under 5 bucks at most places here as well. If you've got kids and you put them in a private all-day preschool, you can count on about $1,000 average for that. We do have in Colorado now all-day free public school kindergarten. So you can take advantage of that, and that, of course, will be free. The schools are paid for with our property taxes. So depending on where you live, your taxes will vary, and the different school districts will get different amounts of money depending on what's coming in. They're trying to work out ways to be more fair, but that's the way it is right now. So let me back out of this for a second and stop sharing. So that's the report on the cost of living mid-June 2020. Let me know if you have any questions. You can write in below. Be sure and subscribe and hit that bell so you can keep up with us. We'll have a new report on our new topic every week about living in beautiful Colorado Springs. Hope to see you back here. Bye.